Sai Ram, just to recollect what we were discussing last week, we had a very involved discussion about dharma, what is dharma, and I think one of the areas which we discussed was the Three Dharma. I think Sister Anandi brought it up, and everyone was interested in knowing what are the 7 powers which women have. So I don't know whether anyone did any research. If anyone has done, please share. If not, then I will go. I will share what I have found. But I would just like to give others a chance before I speak. I guess no volunteers, so then I will go. Swami, there are several occasions that you can see about 10, 15 discourses where Swami has talked about it. Especially on Ladies' Days, Swami has spoken about it, and even on many other occasions also Swami has spoken about it. And Swami says, in the Gita, Sri Krishna has said, this is what Swami says. So in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 10th chapter, it's called Vibhuti Yoga, where Krishna speaks how he is present in this world. He's telling, in various things he's telling among gods, he is Indra, like that various, among Rudras, he is, Shankara, among Adityas, he is Vishnu, like that he's talking. Then he says, if there's someone who is strong, he's the strength in them. Someone is good, then he is the goodness in them, and things like that. Then he comes to, there's one verse, this is the 34th verse in the chapter 10 of Bhagavad Gita, where he is telling in women, and in women I am this, and he lists 7 qualities. So that means God is present in every woman as these qualities which should be naturally accessible to them if only they set their minds, I guess. That's what Swami always refers to, because it is easily accessible to women. And so I will just read the 7 which Swami has listed, and then I will also mention what's in the Bhagavad Gita. Anyone who wants to take a note of it, you can take a note of it. See, one of the qualities for women is supposed to be memory, smriti. My memory is not very good, so I'm going to read it out. We have to make extra effort, but apparently women remember well. So the Swami says, Kirti, Sampada, Vak, Buddhi Shakti, Medha Shakti, Dairya, and Sahana. I will repeat. Kirti, Sampada, Vak, Buddhi Shakti, Medha Shakti, Dairya, and Sahana. These are the Sanskrit terms which Swami has used. I will just read out the Bhagavad Gita once, and then we'll look at the translations. Kirtihi, Shri, Vak, Smriti, Medha, Dhriti, and Kshama. So Swami has used slightly different words, but they all mean the same thing. I will now look at
one more, brother.
Once more or one more?
One more.
Kirtihi,
Oh, yes. Sri.
Sri,
Okay. I got it. Thanks.
Vak, Smriti, Medha, Dhriti, Kshama. I will give you the translation which in a couple of places in the Sathya Sai speaks. Given, I will first read that. Kirti means reputation is the meaning they have given. You can say fame also. Where is it? Sorry, 1 second. Fame. The second one is Swami has given the word Sampada, or in the Gita it says Shri, which means all kinds of prosperity or wealth. Okay. The third one is Vak, speech. Okay. The fourth one is Swami says it's Buddhi Shakti. In the Gita it says Smriti. So you can say power of discrimination or memory. Okay. Intelligence is also because of memory. Then the Medha Shakti, intelligence is basic. Okay, Medha is knowledge. Okay, Buddhi is discrimination. Medha means capturing information. You know, having a lot of information in your ability to process a lot of information. Okay, generally that's considered intelligence also. So the translation they have given is power of discrimination for Buddhi and supra-sensory intelligence for Medha. Supra-sensory intelligence is the Sathya Sai speak translation. So I'm just giving it there. The next one is Dhairya or Dhriti. Swami says courage. Courage. Okay. The last one is Sahana or Kshama. Both of them mean forbearance or fortitude to face anything. So these are the powers. Swami says, as these powers, Krishna says he resides in women. So this is the 7 powers which are naturally available for women, is what Swami has repeatedly said. And I was searching very badly, what are the powers men have, and I couldn't find any. But Swami has said men have only 3, which are easily accessible to them. So I will leave it at that. I hope everyone is happy with this. You can do your own research. And that's it. So I will now open it up for any discussion on these. If anyone has any questions, otherwise we can continue on.
Sairam, 3 powers of that
Sairam,
man.
I don't know. Can you give us the 3 good qualities of men?
I couldn't find any, auntie. The thing is, I think the way it works is a man can have only 3. The other 4 will be absent. So we can pick and choose among these 7. No man will have access to all 7 easily.
Thank you.
I think that is my conclusion, because 3 are not. So basically these 7 should be easily accessible to a woman, but men only 3 will be accessible. That's what it says. I will let you all decide. I have not found any material where Swami has said what those 3 are. But then I was thinking about it. Then I thought maybe we are given only 3. Women get 7. Okay, so you can pick and choose.
Sairam, I'm a little bit confused. What do you mean by accessible? Like, if these are supposed to be qualities of character or innate or inborn, what's the question of accessibility in that? Thank you.
Okay, sister. So that is my interpretation. What Swami says is Krishna says that he is present in every woman as these 7 qualities. And Swami repeats it, and he says in men there are only 3 qualities. This is what Swami said. So the way I mentioned this is accessibility is when there's a natural, when things are naturally available in a person, the person can, with little effort, bring it about, bring it out. Swami says, for example, we have divinity which is embedded in everyone, but there's a bit of effort required to just bring it out and express it. So what I'm saying is, women will have, with little effort, they will be able to express these qualities in them. That's what I mean by the word accessibility. But can men cultivate all these qualities? I think so. Okay, because I don't want to be left out.
Sai Ram, I don't know.
But
I just wanted to clear my mind. I thought Stree is for all men and women. Only Purusha, God is Purusha.
Yes, we talked about that also. But there are women, there are Strees who are pretending to be men in this world, and they don't have access to some of them. So the thing is, because of whatever reason, men, I think they can cultivate, but it requires much more effort in cultivating certain qualities. So I will just, for one, so for example, let's just take the word sahana, forbearance. I think generally women are easily, they can put up with anything, they will put up with things. Easily, they have the ability, but men may be finding it difficult. It requires much more effort for them to be forbearing, to have this fortitude of forbearance, to put up with things and be calm in all sorts of situations. So I think that requires much more effort on the part of men. I'm just giving one example. That's all I can say. So it may require a bit more effort. For example, physically, a man may be able to lift heavier things. Why? Because naturally that's possible. Women may not be able to lift something of equal weight. So there certain things are naturally, the kind of woman also lift something very heavy, yes, but it requires a little more effort on the part of women. So what I'm saying is, certain things are easily doable by a man, where women may have to work harder. The same thing goes for on the other side. There are things which are easily available for women to access and exhibit. A man has to work harder. So that's my understanding. I don't think that this is true, right interpretation, but I'm just clarifying what I said. I hope Sister Vasudha is okay with it.
Brother Sai Ram, it's in regards to Sakwanti's question. It's the spirit dharma. All the humanity, all of them are referred as a feminine. There is a dharma for the spirit dharma and Purusha dharma. Purusha dharma, the Purusha is referred to the men's side. That is referred as a god. So we learned that Purusha is a god name that is given to the Purusha, the men, right? So in that case, the god is referred as Purusha. Then three qualities, like in a logic point, I'm just thinking 7 qualities given for spirit dharma. Purusha is referred as God to him. So that's why we are calling Purusha. Then the Purusha Dharma has 3 qualities. So it's like a little bit of confusing.
Okay, I will not answer the question now, sister. I will open it up for, does anyone have an explanation? So, sisters, there are 2 questions which have come out. One is, I think, Sister Sakku, Auntie Sakku's question, that everyone is woman, so is all this all available? Number 1, which I try to answer according to my understanding. And then Sister Aruna is asking, so does this mean God has less powers than we?
No, brother. Definitely God will have more qualities, but Purusha Dharma is 3. Then when we studied, we are referring our Purusha as a God, like referring as a God. So then why the quality then there we are making that quality less on the other side. That's what I'm trying to say.
Hi, Ram. Regarding Auntie Aruna's question, could it be that the three qualities of Purusha that Swami is referring to something like Sat Chitananda or something like that? If we take it along those lines, I mean, because like Auntie was saying, how Purusha is referring to God, and Swami mentioned three qualities and he didn't say what they were. So could it be that Swami was referring to that?
Yes, it could be.
Sairam, Kalyani, it can only apply to Parabrahma, that's God.
Yes, and I think that's what Auntie Aruna was saying, that because Purusha is God. And then so anything that Swami says relating to Stri, because he talks so much about it, like about women, I feel like all of that is applicable to both men and women.
Okay, thank you, Kalyani. Anyone else would like to weigh in on this?
Ram, my understanding in this particular context, maybe when we divide into Stri Dharma and the Purusha Dharma, Sakwanti already explained a bit about this Purusha. It's not really meant to the Atma or anything. This is kind of maybe female and male perspective. That's why I believe the 7 qualities for maybe the female side and the 3 qualities for the men's side. This Purusha, in my maybe the understanding, it doesn't represent the Atma or the Supreme to refer to Sat Chit Ananda. That's my humble opinion. In this particular context, this Purusha is different from the Atma.
Sairam, Sister Shivani.
Sairam, I'm just going to, my comprehension is when we are talking, I've read this, something what you exactly said, but I didn't remember the 7 qualities. And man has 3 qualities out of those 7 qualities. That way women is Shakti. It should be respected to a different level, because if women will realize their own Shakti, they are totally at a different level, which we don't. It's there, but we just, when we are talking, Swami is considering him as men and all women. It's at celestial level. It's not at a bodily level. This is at bodily level. We took birth, so this is at our disposal. This is innate quality we born with. But what Swami is taking, I am male and you all are female, or I'm men and you are female, it is at a celestial or heavenly level. That's my understanding. Sorry.
Thank you very much, sister.
May I make a small reference to the Chinese concept of yin and yang, where there's, piggybacking onto what Sister Shivani said about energy and celestial. Like I spent 3 months in China, and they have this concept of yin and yang, which they apply in spirituality and medicine and everything. So everybody has female energy and male energy. And so it's the equilibrium of that actually keeps the body, mind, and soul aligned. I kind of like that concept, and maybe that's, like Sister Shivani was saying, there's some celestial or some beyond the body kind of energy that Swami is talking about. Regardless whether they're 3, 5, 7, I don't think we should limit ourselves to that potential and say, oh, my ration is 3, I'll achieve 3 qualities and stuff.
And you know what? If women will realize these 7 qualities Swami has said, then there will be more men empowerment going on, not women empowerment actually in the world.
Correct. Yeah.
Seriously, that's what I'm thinking. It's just we didn't realize it. There should be more men empowerment programs out there, not women empowerment.
based on this. But I guess it's basically the concept is maintaining an equilibrium and developing to your full potential. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, sister. Any other thoughts, please?
Brother.
Yes, brother.
Yes, my view, we can categorize under the virtue side, whatever we talked before. In the worldly level, we have to go through the virtues, because if we take God, he has a divinity, splendor, fame, wealth, knowledge, and dispassion. This is the 6 qualities on the virtue side. And woman side, the worldly level, they have to be simple, they have to be obedient, they have to be patient, and they have to be very active. And when they talk, they have to talk very sweet. And men cannot do that one. They cannot talk very sweet. Only ladies have the power to talk sweet, and the respect and everything. And that worldly level for the men, they have to bring the money home. That's the main thing, because according to their body build and everything, according to the dharma, they have to bring the money home. And the ladies is the one head of the house. That's what we call illal. So she managed the house. Even the people who are coming to the house, she is the one supposed to take the responsibility. And the husband cannot do nothing, because he is the head of the family. If that is my understanding. And if you come to the spiritual level, Swami is saying the whole Prakriti is feminine, because that is a Shakti. And that Purusa, and for the creation, they need the Shakti and Purusa in order to active, in order to do the creation. That is my understanding, brother. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you. Any other thoughts? So let me, I think, so I will attempt something. The thing is, Krishna is saying that he is present in every woman as these powers. So if we say the Atman is capable of all powers. Okay. So it is fully capable. Then why did Swami say men have only 3 qualities is the second question. Whereas women have 7 qualities. So that if, I think taking Auntie Saku's point that every man is also a woman, and taking Sister Vasudha's thing of yin and yang, we are coming up with Shivaratri. Shiva is called Ardhanarishwara. Half of him is woman. Parvati is half of his body, body itself. So in Sanatana Dharma, also this is Shakti and Shiva as they're intertwined in every person. Even in human, even a man and woman have both. I think even in terms of physical terms, the hormones are present in both. But the extent to which which hormone is more active in a woman can be completely different than a man. I think that there may be doctors who may be a bit more knowledgeable than me to opine on this, but the reality is the physical, mental, and spiritual level, we all have the same combinations. But when Swami makes this statement, I think the reason why Swami is making this statement, I think Sister Shivani spoke about men empowerment, women empowerment. And unfortunately, in the modern day world, we do not see these as powers. We do not give any importance to some of these qualities. We spend a lot of time either for name, position, power, or whatever the world thinks is power, rather than these qualities which in Swami's view are the real powers. And I think that's what Swami wanted to emphasize. And whether we like it or not, each person is handicapped in some way in cultivating these qualities. And I think because of life situation or biological factors or, vasanas or whatever, Swami says women have a better chance at cultivating good qualities. I think that has been the strain, but I think the numbers don't really make much of a difference other than the fact that Krishna has listed and Swami has told this again and again. And I think why Swami makes this statement is because we spend a lot of time in our lives. If you say we go to school for 12 to, I don't know, 18 or 20, 25 years, every day, say at least on an average 6 hours spent on studying, all for the sake of livelihood, all for the sake of earning a livelihood, for the sake of money. But and everyone thinks if I have a job which gets me earn a salary and then I have money, then that
I
gives
am in
me
a
power.
class, I'll call you.
That gives me power. That is the way everyone functions in this world. But Swami wants to point out, look here, there's something much higher to work towards. There's power in many of these good qualities, which great men and women have exhibited. And Swami gives a lot of importance to that aspect of womanhood, and that's why I think Swami points this out. And are these qualities equally applicable to men? Yes, I think so. Because, but the thing is, Swami says it's equally applicable to all. Maybe it's equally accessible to all, but women have a greater access to them, or they, with little effort, women should be able to exhibit this. This is what Swami has time and again stated. So that's my understanding. I hope that it's right or wrong. I think we have all shared our thoughts. I think each of us can come to our own conclusions at this point. But because it is otherwise, and I don't want to dwell on this so much, then it will be a full discussion of Dharma Vahini. We can take up the study of Dharma Vahini. But I hope everyone is happy with things as they are today with this type of discussion. We will continue on the Geetha Vahini. Otherwise, we are going off on a slightly tangential path. It's not that it's irrelevant, but it may take away because we don't have the material in front of us to study. So I hope it's all okay. We can continue where
Thank you very much.
Sairam.
Sairam, I just want to quickly agree with what you said about male hormones, female hormones. We all have both of those, and like you said, there has to be a certain balance, and their role is not just limited to reproduction, but they also have a role with the liver, kidney, and other body organs. So we all have both hormones, but our chromosomes of X and Y determine how much we have and what we use. Thank you so much. Because you asked, I just thought I would agree.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sairam. I'll go on reading it.
Yeah, I think Brother Dasan had a comment also, it looks right.
Yeah. So, Sairam, brother, you know the story about Satyavan and Savitri, how the husband supposed to behave, how the wife supposed to behave. If you tell the story about the three vows that he got it from Dharma, is it relevant to this one? Or?
I think we'll hold it off, brother, if it's okay.
But Sairam, yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise then you tell the story and there'll be questions on the story.
Yes.
And then before we know, this whole session will be that.
Yes, brother.
And because if we have material, see, I think we all are trying to study what Swami said. So yes, Swami said Shakti, so ability, so that's why we spend some time. But otherwise, Swami has spoken about Savitri and Satyavan, and then we should bring that material and study. That's my personal view. I hope it's okay, brother.
Yes, brother, we can continue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sairam. Similarly, man too has some natural characteristics that are his very life breath. They are also called Shaktis or abilities. They can be identified as men only so long as these abilities are found in them. If they are lost, they are no longer men. To preserve and foster such qualities and abilities, certain modes of behavior, lines of thought are laid down. Dharma will not decline if these acharas or discipline and vicharas, discrimination, are kept up. Dharma is not imported from somewhere outside, nor can it be removed. It is your own genuine nature, your uniqueness. It is the thing which makes a man out of an animal. How to observe Dharma? By being yourself. If a thing breaks loose from this Dharma and behaves as the whim dictates, then it is doing adharma or unrighteousness. This Sahada Dharma, innate or natural Dharma of man, was overpowered in course of time. Those who supported it, encouraged it, and derived joy from it declined. So in common parlance, it was said to have been destroyed. True, it is something that cannot be destroyed. Though it is something that cannot be destroyed. It is only like the weed overpowering the crop. So the establishment of Dharma is only weeding the field. Now in this iron age of Kali Yuga, Dharma has become a mere matter of words. Dharma is not just a magical manipulation of words. This must be clearly understood. What has to be spoken is truth. What has to be acted is Dharma.
Thank you very much, sister. We had read and discussed these paragraphs. If somebody has something to comment or share as far as these passages go, please do so. I will just wait for some time, and if there's no comment forthcoming, then we will continue.
Sai Ram, the word achara, discipline, is it exactly what is it?
So good question, Kalyani. I will ask anyone wants to comment on achara? Okay, so the achara means your daily practice, I would say, which should be disciplined. Okay, but the same word is also used as someone who follows certain strict discipline is called acharam. Okay, so action which is based on certain disciplines is acharam. Practices. I think that's my understanding. I hope.
Is it similar to sadhana, like spiritual discipline?
Yes.
And vichara, it's translated as discrimination. I think before we talked about vicharana being inquiry. Is it?
Yes, you are right.
And the last question is the part about, it says, how to observe dharma by being yourself. I guess does that mean, because I mean, I don't think it means just being your ego self, I guess.
Means I think by I will open it up for anyone to comment, but I read it as being a human being. It's the way, I think if you remember, Swami, I think in the previous paragraph he's saying, if a fire ceases to be fire if it cannot burn. So that is your innate nature. So you have to be that. I cannot be alive. I can't be fire if I can't burn. Something like that. So you cannot be human being if you are not a human being. So you have to exhibit your humanness. Is what I understand, because that's what Swami is telling. Swami is talking about man. Which is so that women don't get upset about it. It's human being. I think that's what Swami is referring to. So a human being has to exhibit humanness, is what I understand. I hope that clarifies.
Sairam brother, last week we also extensively discussed about whether dharma really declines or whether our perception is dharma is declining. Maybe when I referred to some of the Sathya Sai speaks, I found one little paragraph Swami nicely explained about this one. Maybe only 3 sentences. I thought it's really nutshell Swami explained. Can you read that paragraph?
Yes, sister, yes.
Swami says, it's in Sathya Sai Speaks, volume 14, chapter 26. Satya, truth, sustains the cosmos. Dharma, virtue, protects and promotes the peace of mankind. All activities has to be infused with the ideals of Satya and Dharma. Dharma never suffers decline. Only the practice of Dharma declines. So, divine incarnation takes place to restore faith in Dharma, to revitalize the practice of Dharma, and to demonstrate that the practice of Dharma confers peace, joy, and prosperity. If Dharma is ignored, it amounts to sacrilege, for Dharma is God and God is Dharma. I thought it's wonderfully explained, Swami, in here.
Thank you very much, sister. Thank you. Anyone else has something to say?
I think in short, Bhagavan wants us to practice our human nature, innate nature, without sacrificing it, so that there will be a lot of peace within and outside. Thank you, Saira.
Sairam.
Sairam, brother. So according to your thing, whatever you mentioned is exactly correct, brother. The humanity is the one we have to follow. That means we have to talk truth. When you talk truth, but you have to act according to the whatever you said. Whatever you are talking truth means, you have to practice that one. You are talking something that 3 alignments supposed to be their words, thoughts, deeds. When you practice that one, the dharma will be established. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, brother, Sairam.
Sairam, addition to brother's note, Swami says that action without love cannot become dharma. So if you are a teacher, that is your individual duty. But if you don't teach with love, it cannot be dharma. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam. Anyone else has something to say? So I think sorry.
Sorry, Uncle, just one more quick question. Sahaja Dharma, we can say is the same as Swadharma?
Yeah, I think, yes, that's my understanding. That which is born with us, yes. I think we had a lot of discussion about innate versus natural, so that which is born along with us, which is, yeah. I think then we can move on to the next slide.
Satyam Vada, speak truth. Dharam Chara, act righteously, has been the clarion call for the Upanishads, the repositories of Indian culture. These glorious teachings have been forgotten today. It has been turned upside down, in fact. Dharam Vada, speak Dharma, is the order of the day. This is the first step in the decline of Dharma. This descent from deed to word and belief that a thing is done when it is only uttered, this is a Dharma in fact. But that which is not practiced cannot process strength. The crocodile's strength depends upon its being in water. The strength of Dharma depends upon its being practiced. It becomes weak when it is taken out of practice and thrown on the sands of words. Satya, truth, is a matter of speech. It gets strength when it is practiced in speech. It is difficult to practice it in action. Strength has two meanings here, animal strength and dharmic strength. Bhima had the physical strength, but as his elder brother, Dharmaraja was by his side, Bhima's strength became dharmic. The Pandavas were saved by their adherence to dharmic strength. But for what? But for that, they would have suffered defeat even in the very beginning. The Pandavas, without Dharmaraja, whatever their resources, would have been an easy match for their opponents. Just ponder over that. How were the Kauravas destroyed? In spite of their vastly superior resources, they did not have dharmic strength. All that they could rely on was sheer animal strength. The day when Dharmaraja and Bhima, those who had the dharmic strength, moved into the forest, a dharma penetrated into the land of the Kauravas.
Thank you, sister. So I don't think there's much for me to summarize here, but I will open it up for discussion. I don't know whether did we read this actually last time also? We may have read it.
We read it and we
Yes,
said,
we read it.
Yeah,
And
we
then
read it, yes, brother. We read it and we thought
We
think
read
about
it.
this one and we will discuss
Yeah,
this
so-
last paragraph. Yeah.
The last sentence, I would like to understand more, please. You know, when the Bhima and Dharmaraja moved into the forest, then the Adharma penetrated into the land of Kauravas. That means when the dharmic people are not there itself, the land will be destroyed, kind of. Is that the way it was explained here?
So I think I will open it up for discussion, sister. I don't want to stray into this, but I will ask, what does everyone think Swami is saying? You know, the day, I think it was physical, it was true also, factually it was right. Because the Kauravas exiled Dharmaraja and Bhima and the Pandavas, and that itself by its, was the beginning of certain adharmic tendencies growing. I think that's my understanding, but I will open it up for others to share your thoughts.
Hiram, brother, my understanding, the dharma is innate in each and everyone. If the dharma is not practiced, then adharma penetrated easily. That's what this last sentence means to me. Even dharma can be with you, but if it is not practiced, then adharma automatically penetrates in you and lead in a bad way. That's my interpretation on this one. Swami is telling that dharma should be practiced. That's the point Swami is stressing on this paragraph.
Okay. Thank you, sister. Thank you. Brother Dasan,
Yeah, Sairam, brother. If you don't practice the Dharma even in the day-to-day life, even you may be a well-educated, or you may have wealth, or you may have physical strength. If that one doesn't go along with the Dharma, you will lose it. The same thing, Kauravas, they had money, they have wealth, they have the country, they had army power. Still, they couldn't defeat the 5 Pandavas because Kauravas didn't have the Dharma. They don't want to follow the Dharma. They think Dharma is not necessary. So in our day-to-day life, we have to realize the Dharma always. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, brother.
Sairam.
Yes, Auntie. So,
Okay. I think because the Kauravas are in greater number and they were ruling the country, Kauravas' land, and it looks whatever the way the leaders do, the people will follow. So the Kauravas were following the adharmic way, and I think the people, most of the people also will follow the leaders and do the adharmic actions in their life. I think that's what it means. Thank you. This is what I believe. Thank you.
thank you, Auntie. Thank you. Sairam Auntie, Manoli Auntie.
Yeah, I feel as long as Pandavas were with Kauravas in Hastinapuri, the atmosphere was mostly dharmic. Though the Kauravas had dharmic qualities, because the Pandavas were there was dharma prevailing. But once they left to the forest, when they left Hastinapuri, then the Kauravas had the bad qualities, and so it prevailed in the whole country.
Okay. Thank you very much, Auntie. Thank you.
Sairam,
Yes, Sairam.
yeah. So just adding to what Auntie had said, it goes with the dictates that Yata Raja Tata Praja. So as is the king, so are the subjects. So in this context, actually, in one sense, though the Pandavas were banished or exiled into the forest, even there they continued to do their dharmic activities. So it means in the sense that dharma, wherever such dharmic people are there, their dharma is enshrined. But the Kauravas, they had the entire land to rule over, but the intentions with which they ruled over the land also shows up with the way things finally came to be, because we know that even after the exile, when the Pandavas came back from forest and they were given like Kandava Prastha, which they made it into Indraprastha, they continued. So wherever dharmic people are there, dharma is enshrined there. They do yagas, they do yagnas, which again, in those days, everything of the crops and all of that cultivation was dependent on rains. And these yagas and yagnas resulted in those rains coming. So the entire prosperity of the land, and rightfully based on dharmic intentions, was always in place. But in the context of Kauravas, it was always for selfish purposes, for serving their selfish ulterior motives. So obviously, it leads to more of manifestation of adharma where the Kauravas were at that point in time. Saira.
Thank you very much, Sairam. Thank you.
Hi, Ram. Just talking about the Mahabharata and the war, it reminds me about what's going on now in the world in Ukraine. It's very difficult to reconcile and it's very saddening. Can somebody please explain to me how to deal with this crisis that's going on?
Sairam, just anyone wants to, sister has put.
So, Sairam, brother, Even
Yes.
Mahabharatam too, a lot of people died in front of the Lord from Krishna. Thousands of people died. But Krishna was said, God's will we cannot understand. His Sankalpa we cannot understand. Swami said many times not to involve in this one. You came to this world alone, you're going to go alone. So you do your spiritual sadhana, don't involve in the worldly activities, what is happening there, here, there. But when you go into the deep, you cannot do nothing. We don't know why it's happening. So our main part is wherever we are, we have to be thinking about Lord all the time, even though we are doing different duties. That is my understanding, brother. Thank you, Saira.
Sairam, brother. Any other thoughts?
Something I can add to how I deal, maybe sister, this will help you. Couple of years, not couple of, I don't know when, those in Africa, some girls were abducted and all of that. It was disturbing me for a long time. And then I was asking question to Bhagawan, all these crises, economical and worldly and political. I mean, how as a spiritual person, we are getting softer and softer and have more feelings towards mankind. It's hard to deal with that. And I distinctly remember in one of the study circle, I think, brother, I don't know, I think mentioned, I don't want to quote you, but the message I got from that study circle when we started in 2020 is either if we are in the position of to make a change, then definitely do the dharmic action. If not, the only thing which is remainder with us is samasta lokha sukhino bhavantu. And that's the only thing. It disturbed me as well. I just sat in front of him and I just recited that, and which gave me some peace. I did my part by offering that. And we don't know who is right, who is wrong, what was people's karma, who we are not in that position at all. So as brother has said before, we don't know. The only thing is we can send our prayers wherever it goes, wherever it reaches to the right people, and that's what we can do. Saira.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sister Shivani. Any other thoughts, please? I think that's. I think everyone is fine. So I think this was Sister Vasudha's question, and I will just add on to what Sister Shivani said. Yes, Samasta Loka is the prayer. Swami has given the prayer, whether for all situations which will ever arise in this world. And we also can sing Sabko Sanmati Do Bhagavan. Oh God, grant everyone the goodness in their own thinking. Ultimately, if there's goodness in the thinking, nothing will matter. Unfortunately, the reality is we all are consumers of news, which 90% of the time is propaganda on either side. That's a reality. Is someone is doing wrong? Maybe I'm just there. The reality is the people who are self-righteous, calling out the Russian aggression, are themselves guilty of so much aggression, countless aggressions in the past couple of decades. There are millions of people who are still suffering from the exploits of those who call themselves the right people, and they have not done anything to fix those problems. Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, they put up their own regimes, their puppets, and then they removed them and they destroyed those countries, is what I would say. Foreign policies work like this. So it is best, unless we are leading a country as a king or something like that, then we can do. Even then, you cannot do much. So I think we will just send prayers. Hopefully, everyone attains peace as soon as possible. The rest we have to leave to the Lord. Even when the Mahabharata war raged, people had questions. Why this war? Why are people dying? Why are people being killed? This has been an eternal struggle for humankind. You take from Krita Yuga onwards, there have been fights. Rama Ravana Yuddha, Mahabharata Yuddha. If you got Hiranyakashipu, fights and battles have always raged. That is because violence brings about violence of some kind. We can't do much, but I think the only thing we can do is just prayer. And Swami would say, ultimately, in our own life also, there can be war. In our home also, there can be war. Inside us also, there can be war. Among siblings also, there can be war. It may not catch the headlines of the newspaper or the news channel. He says, what we see at the macro level is what goes on at the individual level. So I think Mahatma Gandhi used to say, if some problem went on, he thought there was something he is doing wrong. If in India there's some violence, he thinks that there has been a violent thought in his own mind. So I think that's all we can do. We can try to remove violence within us. We can send prayers to everyone. Ask God to grant everyone Sanmati and Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavant. Those are, I'm just summarizing whatever others have already shared. And if there's no other thought here, we will move on to the next slide. Thank you, Sister Vasudha.
Thank you very much.
Uncle, just one question. So when Swami says you should not speak about dharma, does that mean like you shouldn't say this is not a right action? This is, advising, okay, this is right, this is wrong, this act you should do, this act you should not do. Like you should not say that?
Okay, very good question, Kalyani. So how do we how do we do it is the question. We should not speak about it? That's the question you're asking. I will open it up for discussion, please. Anyone can say, Swami says we should not speak about it, we should act. So if anyone would like to share any thoughts, please.
Sarah, I was having the same questions too when I was looking at it. Swami says that, you should speak the truth, but act the dharmic way. Action should show the dharmic way, right? So I think initially I thought when he's saying that, he's basically saying like people nowadays, like, we say this is dharma, this is a dharma, but we don't act in the dharmic way. So we're just speaking it, not acting it. And so I guess he was trying to say is that don't speak it, act it, but speak the truth. But I don't think, I don't know, this is my understanding. He said like, don't speak, this is dharma, and then just not do it. Just do it. Don't. So actions, basically walk the talk, sort of.
So it should not be, I think Kalyani's question is she understands that, but after we walk, should we talk about it or not?
No, I don't think so.
Brother,
Your
action
walk will
speak.
talk. Your walk will talk.
Yes, action will speak. Action will speak, right? So when you do actions of people watching. And
so then I will ask the question, why can't we practice truth? Why should it be spoken?
Most difficult thing.
Swami also mentioned that without practice, we shouldn't talk about that one. First, we should practice, then only we are entitled to speak about that one. And a couple of examples also in the past, Brother Aruno said, maybe Swami couldn't be able to cut down sweets. So someone came and asked them, please tell my child not to overeat sweets. Swami said, wait for 30 days, then you come back and I will tell him. So that sort of story, I believe, Brother Aruno told us. That's why before we talk, we should practice first, whether we are speaking truth or not, or otherwise, I believe we are entitled to talk about a particular thing. But that leaves another question all the time, if we don't practice, then we cannot say any single word on that particular matter. Is it real? Maybe practically it's workable, doable? That is also another question.
Saira?
Yes. Yes, Auntie.
I think people who don't practice dharma, who do lot of adharmic way, but on the public platform, they speak as if they are speaking the truth, trying to cover up and confuse the people. I think that's what the politicians do. That's what I think. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Auntie. Thank you.
Saira,
Yes, Auntie.
addition to Anandi's words, I would like to say that Swami says that Bhishmacharya is one who had a noble character and yet failed in understanding his dharma. He thought that his duty is to protect the kingdom, forgetting that it was truth and dharma alone could protect the kingdom. This is also my view about Swamis. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, Auntie.
Brother Sairam, I didn't
Yes.
understand what is Brother Jaswanti said.
Yaswant has repeated them.
Yes, the Swami says that Bhishmacharya is one who had a noble character and yet failed in understanding his dharma. So he thought that his duty is to protect the kingdom, forgetting that it was truth and dharma alone could protect the kingdom. This is what Swami says. This is, you get Aruna, sister?
Yes, Auntie. Yes, thank you, Sairam.
Saira.
So he didn't protect the dharma at that time. Okay.
Saram, so does it mean that instead of, so he supported the Kauravas because they were not practicing the truth and dharma, right? Is that how you take it? Because he was with the dharma, with Kauravas, right?
Yes.
I think he
Yes,
didn't
Auntie,
do
yes.
any action because, as Swami said, Krishna very well said, Lord Krishna, that the primary duty of a mankind is to take action, to do action. Even Lord, when he comes in human form, he has to do action. So that is where Bhishpitama lacked. He didn't do any action towards what he saw is the righteousness. That's my interpretation. Like he didn't act on them. He says he was so dedicated to the throne, but didn't realize at this moment I have to act. And he missed that opportunity to be dharmic at that time.
Yes.
He
Okay,
just
brother,
wanted to protect the kingdom only. He didn't act according to that.
Okay, good.
Thank you, Saira. Yes.
Thank you.
Brother Yoga.
Yes, current situation, the whole the concept of feeding the fire, not to shut down the fire. Saira.
Yes, Brother Dasan.
So, Sairam, brother. So, in our life, you have to talk the truth. I don't know, if you practice 1 week and you will realize it's a big task. So, in some situations, if someone asks you, you don't need to give the correct answer. You can, such a way, you can give a different answer instead of talking the straightforward answer. For an example, in a jungle, one rishi was meditating and one deer was running and hide behind to the bush. So the rishi saw that one. The guy came behind to the deer looking for the deer. He asked the rishi, did you see the deer? Then the rishi said, the mouth I cannot talk, the eye, whichever I saw cannot talk. In such a way, he put a difficult answer that guy left. So this is my understanding, brother. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other thoughts, please?
Sairam.
Yes, Auntie.
Yeah, thinking of Bhishma, he knew what he was not in the dharmic path because he felt that he was indebted to the Kauravas. Right throughout, he had been there and eating, whatever was given to them. So he had this obligation and he felt that he was indebted to them. though he knew that they were very adharmic people. That's what I felt. Saira.
Thank you, Auntie.
So, Sairam brother, one more thing, the people are talking about Bhishma. At the court, when the Panchali was humiliated and violated that time, why the Bhishma didn't open his mouth? When Panchali was asked, why you're not talking? Why you're not showing any objection or anything? At least he would have, he said he cannot do the judgment between the morality and justice. That is wrong, because one of your family member was violated. Don't worry about the justice and moral. At least he would have said, this is wrong. You cannot do anyone for a lady on the front of all the audience. That is my understanding. So he failed on that one. Thank you.
I think,
So-
brother, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, so brother, I don't know the last line, what was asked, Dharmaraja and Bhima, when they move into the forest, Adharma penetrates. Does it apply to the same? Like one is at a physical level, definitely when they move to jungle or exile, the Dharma penetrated. But at a understanding psychological level, what we are discussing, that Bhishma related to Pitama, he was strong, he was dharmic, but he didn't perform that, so adharma penetrated something. I don't know. I'm just trying to make a link. Sometimes it doesn't.
Thank you, sister. Thank you. I think someone can say Bhishma felt that he should not talk dharma, so he didn't talk. But just to go back to Sister Kalyani's question,
In that
I think I just, pardon?
Brother, sorry, Bhishma didn't want to talk Dharma because it has to be in action. So what action then he has demonstrated then? He didn't demonstrate anything. So,
So Bhishma acknowledges at the end that at that point in time he could not think clearly, and he was himself confused about what was dharmic action. That was a fundamental issue, because that he attributed to having been in the company of the Kauravas. Okay, because of that, dharma itself looked very distorted to him because of the company he had kept with them, because he was forced out of natural circumstances, which he acknowledged at the end when he was in the bed of arrows, when Draupadi asked him the same question. He said at that point in time he was blank, though he could have known, because of the company he kept, he could not see. That was, I think, his view. If he had seen what was right or wrong, then he would have acted, is my belief. Okay, so I think that's that. And as far as I think, I think Kalyani's question has been, I think, answered by everyone. In the case of dharma, the action should precede the word. In the case of truth, the word precedes action. In both cases, practice is needed, but the order is slightly different. It's what I understand from based on everyone said. For example, if we make the statement that we are divine, Swami says, I am a human being. That's a statement of truth. But then we have to act like a human being. Okay. So the practice follows our statement, our conviction. This is the truth. This is what I believe in. Now I am going to act. Those are truths. In the case of dharma, asking somebody else to do something, we should have practiced and we should have walked the talk before we speak. As I think Sister Shivani or Sister Anandi said, it's Sri Ramakrishna who demonstrated in his own life about teaching a child that they should not eat sweet. This is the story of Ramakrishna as told by Swami. So the thing is, in the case of teaching people how to behave in dharmic way, we should first practice it, demonstrate it, and then explain. So I think that's my understanding. Otherwise, we will not be even talking. This question itself should not have been answered because it's about dharma. So, we are all talking about what we have to do. So, but in certain situations we talk about it. It's okay. But I think in the case of dharma, the practice should precede speech. Or in the case of truth, the speech precedes practice. That's what I could understand. Just talking about something and not doing anything about it is no use also. Swami will say, I'm a human being, I'm a human being. If we keep on saying it's truth, it is truth. It's of no use if we don't practice. So I think that's what I sort of understood. So I hope it's okay. If there's any other thought, please share. Otherwise, we will move on to the next slide.
Anna, I just wanted to add to that Bhishma story.
Yes.
Where actually what happens is Bhishma is on the bed of arrows, and Krishna brings all the Pandavas and he tells Dharmaraja to learn the dictates of Dharma from Bhishma. And at that point in time, when Bhishma is telling Dharmaraja about what is all about Dharma and so on, Draupadi, who's present there, she kind of smiles or laughs and then Krishna tells her to tell the reason why she has done that, for which she puts up this question. And then, like Anna was saying, Bhishmacharya, he very clearly says that eating the food in the house of the Kauravas, having eaten that kind of food for over so many decades, my mind also became of that kind. But then when the arrows of Arjuna pierced me and all that bad blood ran out, the innate goodness began to surface. And once that happened, all of the principles for which Bhishma actually stood for, uh, from the terrible vow that he made to sacrifice his life, all of that came back, and that is how he could tell Dharmaraja again what are the dictates of dharma. So, one sense, company defines. That's why when Swami says, "Tell me your company, I shall tell you what you are," it has so much influence, not just from the external, but in terms of the food we eat, which constitutes in making our mind and so on. So, just thought of adding that point. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you, Sai Satish. Thank you very much. Very nice. So if there are no other thoughts, we will move to the next slide.
So the Dharma that has now been exiled into forest has to be resorted to the villages and towns in order to establish plenty, prosperity, and peace to the world. From the reign of a Dharma, the world has to enter the era of Dharma. Special effort is called for when you cultivate a crop. No effort is necessary when weeds and wild grass are allowed to grow. The valuable crop of Satya Dharma has to be cultivated with all care and attention. When Dharma is practiced, a Dharma will decline by itself. No special exertion is needed for putting it out of action. Therefore, Dharma Sthapana means in this present context, the growth of the practice of Dharma. What does it mean when people say the sun has set, only it is not visible to us? So to simply because Dharma is not evident, you cannot say it has gone out of existence. How can it go out of existence? If it goes, it cannot be truth or Dharma. Dharma, since it is associated with truth, is indestructible. To make the Dharma that has become hidden visible only again, that is real Dharma Sthapana, revival of righteousness. What Krishna is doing is exactly that.
Thank you very much, sister. So Swami is again coming back to what he started with, about dharma, glani, it's dharma going out of vogue, not visible, it's lost. I think the 3 legs, 2 legs, 1 leg scenario, which I think Sai Satish talked about. In Kali Yuga, it's very little left in terms of practice. And that's Swami saying. It's just like the sun has set. It's not that sun has gone out of existence. It is not visible, but again, it has to be morning or to dawn. So I think that's what Swami is talking. So I will stop here. Anyone has anything left, please go ahead. I think one Sister Kamini has a message that truth in action is dharma. I think I think it's 416.
Brother, the sentence is given is sunset, then you don't see it, it's not visible. That doesn't mean sun is not there, right? Like that, dharma is not evident. Where do you find dharma is not evident? Dharma is always prevail there, right? Every time we practice. When that will come into place, like when you see dharma is not evident, when do you see it that like that? But always you see that, right? So I didn't understand why the connection was given sunset, then it's not visible. Where dharma always, if dharma is not practiced, you will see it. The other myth comes out. So
your question is, why is it compared to dharma is compared to sun?
Yes.
Okay, I will. Anyone who would like to say
dharma
what?
never, I would say dharma always evident. But yes, because if dharma is not practiced, then obviously the other makes side you will see it. So I don't know why that was compared like that. Thank
Okay.
you.
Brother, yes, Auntie.
Yeah, Satyam and Dharma, they always go together. It cannot be separated. When there is no truth, there cannot be Dharma. So, in every, when there is a adharmic is going on, there's a lot of untruth is going on. So, both are together. I think that's very important to keep it in mind. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you, Auntie. Brother Dasan, you want to say something?
So, Sairam, brother, according to here, the Swami is saying, Dharma is always there. That is the nature. It never going to be disappear. But Swami is comparing the sun, sunset and everything. Even our view only sunset and sunset is there. But sun doesn't move. Sun is there always. So, so we cannot say if you think reality, sun is always there. The light is there because of the rotation and everything. We are getting day and night. Same way, the dharma is always. This is the nature of human being. Because of we don't practice, it is not there, but it is there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, brother. Anyone else would like to share any thoughts, please? Okay, so sister's question. You know, Swami is bringing about sun again and again. Sun is the one to whom Swami says he taught the Geetha first. He sets him out as the best example of everything. He said Arjuna was like the sun, so he taught him. In the Sanatana Dharma tradition, sun was considered the Pratyaksha Brahman, or God who is visible to us. Because everything about our life is dependent on sun. And without sun's light, without sun's warmth, without sun making all the seasons change, we will not be able to live on earth. So sun has been prayed to, worshipped, and so on also. But in this case, when sun sets, there's darkness. When sun rises, there's light. As long as we live in this world, we don't have a choice but to face this day and night, darkness and light. But we should understand that sun is the cause of even light, whether it's present or absent. So dharma and adharma will persist in this world as long as we live in this world, and it will never go away as long as earth exists. So the whole process of sadhana is to rise above the earth. If we go to sun and if you're living on sun, there's no night or day. So sadhana is to raise ourselves from this mundane world where we are caught up in this sunset and sunrise. To overcome that, we have to raise our consciousness to the level where sun is. And there is no setting of the sun. There's no rising of the sun. If people who have knowledge that sun has gone down will wait, pray and wait. Shivaratri is coming. When there is Ratri darkness, you just pray to Shiva. He will bring light. And so in this darkness also we can get light. So that is the reason Swami uses sun quite a bit as an example of karma yogi. He's the best student. He is, so he uses it, and that's all I can say.
Yeah, I got it because I was misunderstanding is dharma always exists, but it is not evident sometimes. Okay, that's where my confusion is. Okay, great. Thank you, Sarah.
So I think it's 4:22. If there's no other comment or observation from anyone, we could, if everyone permits, we can close the session. Unless everyone wants to read the next slide and then go away thinking about it. Maybe we can do that if there's no one else has something to say.
Sarah, using Arjuna as an instrument, he is bringing to light the codes of conduct and modes of thought, which are laid down as dharma from very beginning and once again enforcing their practice. This is referred to as dharma.
Dharmodharana.
Dharmodharana. He is reviving something that is lost. This is not work that can be carried out by ordinary men. So the universal basis, the universal Lord has himself to assume the task. He alone is Sarva Shakta. My will must prevail over all obstacles. He is teaching the world through Arjuna. If Arjuna was an individual like others, he could not be the recipient and transmitter of this great teaching. So you must infer that Arjuna was really a great man. He is a hero who has defeated not merely the outer force, but even the inner ones. Weak hearts cannot grasp the Gita and put it into practice. It is with this full knowledge and this high purpose that Krishna selected Arjuna as the vehicle and showered on him his grace. Once while Krishna was conversing intimately with Arjuna, he made this statement. Note the overpowering grace that Krishna showed. Arjuna, you are my closest bhakta. Not only that, you are my dearest friend. I have no friend so dear as you are. That is the reason why I taught you the supreme secret teaching. Reflect on this. Many in the world are only self-styled bhaktas. The Lord has not accepted them as such. To get the title from the Lord himself, it is great good fortune, and that is the highest credential. The bhakta must melt the heart of the Lord and get from him the acknowledgement of bhakti, devotion. If the title is taken by oneself, it gives partly satisfaction, not genuine joy, alparthapati, not atma tripti. Arjuna was the only person who got the title from the Lord himself. So you can understand how pure-hearted, how deserving was Arjuna. You might say 100 things about yourself. You might advance this claim and that, but you must show acknowledgement from the Lord. Without all your talk is empty boast. Bhakti must be won by implicit obedience, but that alone is not sufficient. That is why Krishna used the word mitra, friend also. The friend has no fear that makes him a more perfect recipient.
Thank you very much, sister. So this is a statement which Swami is repeating, which he had made in, if you go to Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, the fourth shloka or third shloka, where Krishna is saying this to Arjuna. I'm teaching you this because you are a dear devotee and a dear friend. So Swami is highlighting that. So we will stop here if it's okay. It's 4:26, and we will continue next week. So we'll all have some time to think about how to be a devotee and how to be a friend to the Lord, how to strive to be. Okay, Saira. With those words, we'll close with Samastaloka. Saira. Om Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sai Ram.
Saira.
Thank
Thank you.
you so much. Thank you.
Sai Ram.